Hey, this is Stevie D from Buckcherry, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
All right, how's it going out there, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new edition of Interview Under Fire. This is your host, Sonny, back here again, this time, along with Stevie D, quite the honor, man. Thank you so much for joining our IUF series today.
What's going on? How you been?
I'm good, man. You know, this is an exciting time of the year for you and the rest of the guys over at Buckcherry with the release of your 9th studio album. I can't believe I'm even saying that number, Hellbound, which drops June 25th on Roundhill Music. Now, first things first, Stevie, I want to commend you guys on all the well-deserved recognition it's been getting so far. I mean, could we expect anything less, honestly? I mean, with those singles, So Hot and the title track, Hellbound, plenty of amazing things to unravel about this album. But before we get to all that and beyond, I know you guys are on tour right now, which is one of the most exciting things to see happening these days. How are you? I know it's a simple question, but it's an important one to ask. How's the touring life right now?
It's well, we're just getting started. We're on show 3.
Right.
And it's been a minute since all of us have been on the same bus and in touring mode. Usually what we've done is we fly dates. So we fly in, we have limited gear, we make that work for the 75 minutes, and then we fly home. This one, we had a bunch of gear cargoed to our tour bus, and that met us at the first show. So the first show was sorting out all our stuff and then getting it up on the stage and then making sure it all worked, and then having the show. So now I think we're finding the rhythm in the day. Also, like, getting, what time we're getting to sleep and what time we're getting up, and you got to kind of pace yourself because our schedules at home are very different in contrast,
Of course. I remember seeing just recent footage of you guys performing live, and just in the last 2 dates that you were talking about. Obviously, life as of late, many of us have also been away from the stage a lot, fans and musicians and alike. Now that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, what were the days like for you, Stevie, leading up to hitting the road again? Like, were you able to keep up your guitar chops? Does everything feel like it went by in a blink at the same time?
No, it didn't feel like it went by in a blink. I was in it. I was present for every day, sometimes every minute of the day. I'm a single dad, and the silver lining in all of that, for me, I know for Josh, that we got to be home with our families. We did quite a bit of touring in 2019. And historically, we've done a lot of touring, which takes us away from home and our families. So getting to be home with them and be present was a real gift. So, and sometimes it's not easy. It's switching gears, getting into the mindset of being dad is night and day from being out here, being a Viking and touring.
Yeah, and what you kind of just touch on that briefly. Buckcherry's been around since '95, and I know you joined the band a little bit later in the timeline, but you've been at this for over 2 decades, maybe even longer than that. I do begin to wonder, how was the touring life and the live music experience for you personally? Because you've done some extensive touring throughout your career. You played at Monsters of Rock, Crew Fest, Rock Fest, Sweden Rock Festival, Jay Leno. I remember seeing you guys at How the Edge Stole Christmas back in 2006 at that Nokia Theater in Grand Prairie. And now, we've all kind of been just forced to take this whole unexpected step back. And in this last year, has that made you develop, I don't know, a newfound appreciation, maybe even a growing appreciation of the touring life?
It's absolutely. It's our bread and butter. This is where we make our living. It's the tour, the music environment that we knew when we were kids, where bands would sell or millions of records and have mansions. That's all gone. The way we do it, where we make our money, is by touring, selling the merch and all that. So to have that taken, to have that put on hold, really kind of messes with your head. So what Josh and I did to stay busy and to stay focused on why we do this and our love for music is we jumped right into the writing mode, and you stay focused on that, and then everything around you can change. But if you're working towards a common goal, you can get a lot of work done.
Yeah, and
not be affected so much by the quarantine and the restrictions and the mandates and the divided country and
oh gosh,
and all the politics.
yeah, and we can go down that rabbit hole as much as we want. Like,
and
it's
keep it about what's yeah.
I was gonna say, and you did also mention this as well, because you guys have done this along with hundreds of other artists. Stevie, I wanted to get your take on it, because with the touring life you're talking about, there's no wrong answer to this, because we've had so many artists on Interview Under Fire, like Devin Townsend and Atreyu, August Burns Red, and Trivium. I do begin to wonder, because a lot of the bands, what they did with the live streaming, what they did on stage, I know you guys have done a couple of gigs of that as well. I began to wonder, like, if you think, like, what we saw during the rise of the quarantine-induced live streaming, is that going to affect the touring musician business going forward through your perspective? Like, has it already been affected? Do you still see bands doing something like that, even when we get back into normality here soon?
I mean, I probably, like Zoom calls are more frequent, and I imagine will still be because of the ease of use, the convenience of being face to face. That's already changed forever. So I don't think it's going to take away the live show, though.
Yeah.
People still want to hear music and see videos, but they still want to come to the live show. We just did 2 shows, and with limited capacity, but these people were absolutely insane because they missed it so much.
Yeah.
So, and we missed doing it, So I don't think it's going to change for the worse, but it's definitely going to be different.
Yeah, there's so many things to pick apart about what makes live music amazing, and the thing that makes Buckcherry is the live presence that you guys put on stage. And I've had a lot of artists on here, they talk about, I would still love to do live streaming, it still gives me a chance to engage with my fans. Some artists would say, I'm not doing anything until all this is over. I don't know if you remember, Metallica did this live streaming event just for one weekend last August at the drive-in, and I think they did it in majority of the states. Dallas sold out completely. Luckily, a friend of mine had a ticket. He asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, sure, I'll go. Let's see what happens. And what's one of the most common things we hear at a rock metal show? Let me see those horns, right? And you just see like a sea of horns from the fans, and you get that adrenaline rush. So I remember 3 Days Grace open, and instead, what did we get? They said, what is it? Let me hear you honk your horn. So if you roll your window down, you just hear cars honking just in silence.
Yeah.
The point is it just
the intensities that
no, go ahead.
No, the intensity is different with those kinds of shows. Are spread out. The sound system isn't the same. You can't be as close to the PA. And then if and if you're in your car being forced to be separate, there's an energy that happens when people get together that feeds the band, that feeds the audience, and it just goes back and forth, which you don't get in a drive-in.
It just made me miss that live experience
or a socially distant show.
But hey, I'm glad I attended.
Sure.
It still brings a whole new different perspective to the whole realm of live music. Now, Stevie, speaking of music, let's talk about Hellbound. Why don't we talk about everything head to toe? The new album comes out June 25th on Roundhill Music, and this is the follow-up to 2019's Warpaint, and this is quite the follow-up because Hellbound is also the first album released by you and your label partners, Roundhill Music. Talk about them, and what is it like being on Roundhill Music's roster alongside other notable artists like Collective Soul and Dropkick Murphys, Rob Thomas, to name a few?
Well, that was we were brought on with a guy named Josh Bruce, and part of the attraction, or a lot of the attraction for us, is we a partner at the studio at Sienna Studios, which used to be Quad. was Marty Fredrickson. So
Right.
we've been on the battlefield together years ago, and we're still friends. And our manager came to us and said, give me a short list of the producers you want to work with. And without really knowing, who's over there at Roundhill, Marty was already at the top of our list. And he said he just so happens to be part of this label, and well, not the label, but of the studio. And it was a no-brainer. We get along with Marty. We get a lot done. There's a chemistry that happens without a lot of talking. And
that's a good thing.
So yeah, it's there's a songwriting language that happens that we don't have to work. When we get with somebody new, there's something that happens where you have to kind of get to know each other and learn the language between each other. We just jumped in and we wrote for 1 week and came up with 6 amazing songs. And where I thought we would just get one song for the week, So So Hot is one of them. Hellbound is one of them.
Yeah.
And those we wrote each in a day. Top to bottom. And which was pretty awesome.
Right. I do want to talk about Marty here in a second, but now this album, when I received it, I mean, from songs like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, title track, Normalized, to Junk, to Barricade, which is my personal favorite. I mean, you guys have, I'm just a fan out there, but you guys have done it again. I mean, you already have albums which have gone to be certified double platinum, as the case with your recent news on the album 15. Congrats on that. Came out in 06. And this is just another impressive addition to your catalog. I mean, you guys have really honed in on your sound and have stayed true to that over the years. I mean, we can dive into the genres of hard rock and alternative all you want, but I don't care who you are. 9 records is not an easy thing to do, and yet here you are. So walk me through this, Stevie. Like, does writing get easier, or does the pressure of so many great records make it harder?
Well, there is initially there's a pressure. There's initial, because somewhere along the way, people are going to compare your previous work with what's current.
Of course.
So, but you have to go in not chasing anything. You can't chase a sound. You can't chase any kind of success. You'll fail, So what we wanted to do, what we went into consciously, we went in just wanting to write the best music we could. And we had a lot of time to do it. So we basically had all 2020. Before, we'd have a month or two to write a record, record it, and put it out. Now we had all of 2020 to write, and we took our time. And what happened at the end is Marty culled 25 plus songs down to 10. So it was a cohesive, consistent rock and roll record. You know what I mean? He picked the 10 that all sounded great and take you on a journey. And then what Josh did was put him in, into an order that kind of takes you on that journey. So he's always the one that picks a set list for the show, and he takes the songs for the album. And what we wanted to do was have 2 sides for the album. So, 1 through 5, and then on the other side, 1 through 5. So
interesting.
There's a concerted effort on the sound of this album and the way it rolls front to back.
Yeah. And then you kind of just helped me with this transition, because now with Marty, it sounded so polished, sounded so raw and pure. Like, I knew it was Buckcherry. I'm kind of an audiophile these days. I'm very picky on how I want my music to sound, the way I want to sound it. A lot of EQ levels being raised back and forth. And Marty, I know he also produced Black Butterfly. He's also known for his work with Aerosmith, Carrie Underwood, Motley Crue, to name a few. I'm sure there was that sense of comfortability in the studio for you guys, knowing that you have someone like Marty working on Hellbound with you, because I know you guys recorded this in Nashville in November 2020.
Yeah, he knows what we're about. He knows where our strengths lie. He knows what makes Buckcherry a great band, and he knows what he understands why it became so popular. So because he was a part of that. So knowing that he's in the front driving the bus is very comforting, because there's been a lot of times we you know, Josh and I did some stuff outside of Buckcherry, and we worked with some people that we had never worked with before, and or hung out with, and it's you know, like when you're talking to them, you wonder, does this guy understand what I'm saying to him? Like, I'm trying to get an idea across, and I'm not sure if they're getting it, you know. And you know, when you're working with Marty, he's going to translate all that for you, you know.
Yeah, and you know, between writing and structuring the songs and the production process, like you just talked about, even the album art, I'm hoping you were able, if you're able to shed some more light on this, because the lyricism surrounding Hellbound, I began to think if there was a reason why you guys chose songs like So Hot and the title track as singles before the release. Like, if there was a theme to this album, and if there was, to what level do you like to have something like that for your music? Like, how important are themes or concepts for you?
We didn't go into this with a concept for the whole,
Okay.
but not like we did for, like, let's say, Confessions,
Right. Yeah.
or even the F album. You
Yeah.
know, there was a loose concept on that one, but for this one, it was all about writing the best songs, the best rock and roll songs we could write.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
So was it like different this time around in any sport sort of perspective? Like when you sit down to write a piece of music, as far as instrumentals, lyrics, what comes first? Or even if something like that, you kind of have like a, I don't know, like a preset list mentally when you sit down to write.
Well, it happens all different ways. Josh will show up one day, you know, he'll sing me something over the phone.
Okay.
And then I'll be like, come on over. And then I'll put on a click and he'll sing it, and I'll give him a key with the acoustic guitar, and he'll sing it verse through the chorus. You know, he'll be snapping his fingers, or I'll give him a piano part. We did that with The Way. And he'll come up with the melody over that. I'll record a guitar, just a guitar and drums, and just send him the 2 tracks, verse, chorus. If he connects, then we finish the rest of it. If it kind of you know, if it isn't so easy, then we kind of put it on hold and revisit it later, or not, you know.
Yeah. Any song
it happens
on here?
all different ways.
No, go and finish your thought, because I want to ask that next one.
The last 6 songs were created in Nashville, and Marty would it was important to him. Like, it was all about the beat, so it would start with the beat, and it had to be a cool beat, and then I would start playing guitar to it, and then we'd send the file through email to Josh, and he would write it at the hotel and then bring it in and sing it in the morning, you know.
Okay.
So it happened all different kinds of ways.
Was there a song that almost didn't make the track list?
There was a song, No More Lies.
Oh, okay.
And it originally sounded like it was a riff rock kind of song, maybe akin to Montrose Bad Motor Scooter, you know.
Okay.
And
now I gotta revisit that song now.
yeah, and it doesn't now it resembles, not, you wouldn't be able to tell. And it was finished top to bottom, and I was like, yeah, it's okay, you know, it's a rock tune, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, we put that one on the back burner, and in the 11th hour we brought it. We were at Marty's house, and I was like, you know what, it's an okay song, why don't you wipe the whole track clean, leave the vocal and a click, and then we just started messing with guitar riffs.
Oh,
so
wow.
instead of a guitar rock riff, we went more Zeppelin-y, Jamaica, maybe a little bit more Oasis, you know.
Yeah.
Something like that, a little bit more room to breathe, a lot more holes, instead of like a driving guitar riff.
Yeah. I was going to say, I really appreciated that song for what it was, everything you're mentioning.
Yeah, it's a great song, you know, and now it's a great song. You know, we all love it, and it made the album. You know?
Would you see Hellbound as a snapshot of where you are at a certain time in your life looking back?
Absolutely. Like they're all snapshots of where you are in your life at that particular time. I can put on certain albums or songs and remember what was going on. There was a lot of stuff in 2020 in our personal lives that weren't easy,
Of
for a
course.
lot of people, but in our personal lives, we had stuff going on. And I know for songs like Gun and songs like The Way, I remember what was going on at home when those songs were recorded, you know.
Yeah, from the different experiences and perspectives in your timeline that you have taken in, which we have discussed about so far, whether it's being in a band that's been through the hard-earned success, playing for as long as you have, and the people you have met and worked with doing these amazing records, I mean, including the multiple touring cycles. I mean, your band, the name Buckcherry, like it's a household name these days. Growing up listening
Oh, you
to,
think so?
I think so because I grew up listening to, I mean, I remember
That's awesome.
popping you guys on my CD player going to high school back in 05, 04. Before
How
that,
old are you now?
I'm 31 now. No, 32. I
Oh
don't even
my
know how old I
God.
am. Good Lord. I aged,
Jesus.
I aged
This
another
guy is
year.
in his 30s and he used to listen to us when he was a kid. Oh,
Shows
that
you,
doesn't make me feel old at all.
shows you a lot about my upbringing. And I
Yeah,
mean, you guys have really kind of just, it reminding me back of just those good old days, going to just little things like that, sitting on the bus and popping in 15. And I do begin
that's
to wonder,
awesome.
like, what is the most rewarding part for someone like you, Stevie, who is now, at this point in their career, at the same time has been involved with so many other different aforementioned talented bands, artists, individuals throughout that timeline. Do you ever
Mm.
just stop to take a look back at how far you've come?
Uh, it's funny you say that. It's again during 2020, you take an inventory of like, why am I still doing this? What's going on? Is this what's my idea of success here? And when you think nothing's happening the way you imagined it, or something like that, then you get news that it's been happening the whole time. You know,
Yeah.
i.e., you get a call from your manager and and you find out you've sold a million more records of 15, or 2 million more of Crazy Bitch, or 2 million more of Sorry. Like it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And as long as you can hang tough during the low times, um, you get to see um, what success looks like in this day and age.
Yeah. And I think it's important to just, I feel like it would be easy to lose track of yourself the more successful you are. I think it's important to just kind of just push everything away for a second and kind of just look at yourself and just remind yourself why you do this, and then kind of go back into it. Because I feel like having time for yourself during this whirlwind of years you guys have been through, I think it's very important. And it's
Mhm.
nice to have little reminders like that, like you said, why you do what you do. And again,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be here today
yeah.
without the music you guys put out. So much appreciation to what you guys have done throughout your career.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you. Now I don't know how much time we have. If you have just 5 minutes, I know I talked about that surprise there
Yeah.
at the end. So this always throws my guests off at the
Uh-huh.
end. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if you know the lyrics to your own songs. Are you up for that challenge?
You know what? That's not a fair question. I'm not a lyric guy. I
Okay, okay, okay.
I can recall guitar riffs, muscle memory, all of that for days. But if you ask me about a lyric,
You won't get
I'm
it.
not I'm not that
I think I
guy.
see. I think I see Josh already shaking his head. He's
Yeah.
like, no, no, no,
No,
not yet.
he's watching tennis.
Oh no, it's okay, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll
Yeah.
do is I'll just ask a bonus then. Usually I end my interview with like, what's your favorite, like, this like certain sort of category. Do you have, I don't know, 5 favorite albums or movies you can think of at the top of your head that you like to just call out?
Like the five go-to albums that I've always, it always changes, like my music tastes always change, but
Oh, right.
the ones I always go back to like Highway to Hell, AC/DC, Back in Black, AC/DC. Song
Classics.
remains the same. Led Zeppelin, Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh. You're marking up all my childhood
dude.
records right now.
And like Prince, Love Sexy. I know that's
Oh man, no,
field.
that's great. I love that kind of shows your
Yeah.
perspective in a catalog, like as far as like, wow.
You know,
Okay.
like movies. It's a lot of you know, like if I want to just like shut off, you know, I'll go through Star Wars. You know, I'll go through the you know, like 3 or 4 Star Wars. Pick one. I can do that with the Matrix movies, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of where my mindset is. Right now. Josh and I are watching a show called Startup, but you know, we've done this on tour where it's like, what show are you watching, man? It's like Peaky Blinders, you know. What was the one?
Do you guys have a
Game of
Thrones? Yeah, obviously you have to. I'm actually taking.
You know, we got sucked into that. But,
yeah, I'm taking my sibling through that whole journey. Like we just finished season 6. I watched the whole thing. Have you finished the whole thing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So
yeah.
obviously people have discrepancies on like how the ending was of that whole show, but we can talk about that forever. Do you guys have HBO Max? I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you guys have HBO Max.
It's on in the bus.
Okay.
I do. I don't know if I have it in my.
Okay. Having said that, I recommend you watch Mayor of Easttown. It's with Kate Winslet. This just came out of left field for me. I just put it on one night, and it's only 7 episodes. It's a limited series.
Okay.
If Kate does, again, I'm just a fan out there. If Kate doesn't win some kind of award for her performance, I'm cracking skulls. I'm just gonna put that out there. I think.
Well, I mean, well, is there some kind of thriller? Is there some violence? Is there edge in there? You know,
I think all of that, what you just mentioned, it's
okay.
finally did the cinematic right when we were talking about something cinematic.
Yeah, right. Here, I'm gonna take this out. Okay.
No. So I recommend you watch that if you have time. It's kind of emotional, so I don't know if you want to watch it right before you go on stage. So
Mayor of what?
Mayor of Easttown, Mare, Mayor of Easttown.
Got it.
So it's brand new.
It's going in the queue.
Yeah, I think you'll really appreciate it. But man, Stevie, this has been such an honor, man. Do you have any last words?
Sonny.
Any shout outs? Anything you'd like to plug in as far as Buckcherry and Hellbound?
Hellbound. June 25th. We'll see you out there at the rock show.
And I'll see you guys here in Dallas. I know you guys are playing in Fort Worth technically, but that counts as Dallas. Okay. I always count it as Dallas. But everyone who's listening, This is Stevie D from Buckcherry, Hellbound, June 25th, Round Hill Music. If you could do me a favor and Stevie a favor, buy the record. I still buy records that's sitting in the corner of my room. It's a simple request, but the bands can't do it without your help. And don't forget, you can listen to this podcast interview on all major podcast streams out there. Check us out on interviewonfire.com. Stevie, have a great show tonight, man. You guys have a great tour.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you guys here in Dallas. All right, man.
All right. Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.